Hey guys, welcome back to the studio. We are now going to do step 2 of your pop art project. Your canvas is dry and ready to go, and now you're ready to make paint or prepare your paint. And you have two choices. You can either use craft paint or make your own paint. On YouTube, I do have some videos on how to make your own paint, and today we're going to choose the corn syrup paint just because it mixes with water really well and applies and dries really nicely. So the two kinds of paint you're going to need to make are your opaque and transparent paints. So you're going to need craft paint just as it is for your opaque, which means it's solid and you can't see through it, okay? And you're going to need some, if you don't have craft paint, make some paint. So you're gonna need some corn syrup paint, which I'm gonna show you just now. So you're gonna take some corn syrup, really easy peasy lemon squeezy. You're gonna pour some corn syrup in there. And for every tablespoon, I would add about 4 to 6 drops of food coloring. Really easy. And then you just stir it around. If it's not dark enough, then you can add more food coloring, okay? So that's your opaque homemade paint. You can also use the salt and flour mixture that's on my YouTube video, but it's up to you what you think you'll need. But for a transparent paint, this is the best one. Transparent paint. So with craft paint, you're going to have to, you're going to have to pour some in and dilute it with some water. So water is what's going to make it nice and thin, and so that when you apply it, you'll be able to see the newsprint through. So I do about 1 part water, 1 part paint, okay? And then you're gonna have a sponge to be able to apply that to on your canvas. Same thing with your corn syrup paint, 1 part corn syrup, 1 part water. Really easy. Stir that around and you'll be able to apply that to your canvas once you're ready. So a few things that you're gonna need is obviously a tray or two to make your paints. You can see some of the, or even to apply your craft paint. And some plastic trays for your transparent paint, because those transparent paints need a sponge, and a sponge is going to dip nicely and apply really well. And obviously some brushes. I've got a toothbrush. Whatever you think you'll need to paint with, you probably want to grab it now. So now we're all set up to paint. I've got my dry canvas behind me, my pizza box paper mache canvas. I've got my 2 different colored craft transparent paints and my corn syrup transparent paints. I've got some trays to apply them to so that I can dip my sponge and then apply it to the canvas. The reason we're laying down a transparent coat is so that when the natural content of your canvas comes through, so all the newsprint can kind of shine through. But applying color will create unity amongst the images. 1 or 2 colors is enough. And let's get started. So while you're waiting for your canvas to dry, you're ready for the drawing step of the assignment. I'm going to ask you to draw a character that you love, whether it be a cartoon or a sports figure. I chose Mickey. So you're going to draw your image on white bond paper in black Sharpie. The reason for black Sharpie is that if you decide to cut it out and apply it directly, it won't streak with glue. So water-based markers will streak with any kind of glue. Now that your first coat is nice and dry, you're ready for your second coat. What you're gonna need are some paintbrushes, some sponges, maybe a toothbrush, whatever you have ready-made to paint with at home. And you're gonna need some opaque craft paint if you can get some from the dollar store. If not, you've got some homemade food coloring paint. There's a video on my YouTube channel that you can find out more about that. So here, this is the expressive portion of your painting. So the second coat is all about expressing. So you're gonna throw the paint on there, you're gonna splatter paint, you're gonna drip paint, you're gonna sponge paint. It's kind of graffiti in nature. You don't want to cover everything. You don't want to cover your newspaper entirely. You want some of it to still shine through, but you do want to create a coat of expression. So now your canvas is dry. You can add some icons just for a little extra pop. I use corn syrup paint. Let that dry, and then you're ready to add your image. So I started the tracing process and I found it to be very long, and I don't think you have that kind of time. So instead, I'm going to paste my character onto the surface using my glue. Thin it out a little bit, use a brush for easy application, and that's it. Let's get started.